It's your man Jay Graves Report, and welcome to the College Football Weekly Wrap-Up, Week 11. Y'all know how we get it in, so let's get it in. Wrapping up the top 5 ball games of the weekend, so let's get right to it. Now, here's the deal. First ball game, we had number 21, Memphis. Goes out to play number 24, Houston. Hey, who cares about this doggone game? I picked Memphis to win this game, but Houston won this ball game 34-35. Here's the problem with this ball game, bruh. It was in the top 25, so I had to pick it. It was only one of the few top 25 matchups that was in the doggone this weekend. Problem with this weekend is this, or with this ball game is this. These teams are in the American Athletic Conference. That's not a Power 5. That means it doesn't matter that Houston is undefeated, 10-0, because the Duns play outside of the Power 5. The Power 5 is all that counts. So I just put this game in for the sake of putting it in here. Nobody cares about who's on this team, so I ain't going to give you stats, nothing. Let's move on to the next ball game. Now, let's go down to the ACC. We got number 23, North Carolina, comes into this ball game playing at the crib against the Miami Partly Cloudies. I told you to quit calling these boys the Miami Hurricanes because they ain't worth 2 damn fly smash. So they the Miami Partly Cloudies from now on. Now, North Carolina beat the brakes off these boys, 59-21, like I told you they would. Marquise Williams went to work on these boys. He ran for 101 yards, 3 touchdowns, then threw for another touchdown. Right now, North Carolina sits on top of the Coastal Division in the ACC. Why is that important, bruh? It's important because they got one game to play, and they win the next game, they get to the ACC championship. That means they'll have to play against Clemson. Number 1 Clemson. Everybody in that baby's mama's mama seems to believe that Clemson is a shoo-in right now for the national championship top 4. But keep this in mind. North Carolina is 9-1, bruh. What happens if North Carolina beat these boys in the ACC championship? Now we got chaos because nobody's talking about North Carolina. But if they knock off the number 1 team in the country and they got the same record as the number 1 team in the country, it's a problem. So all I'm saying is, look out, boy, because these boys for North Carolina is the real deal. Let's move on to the next ball game. Now, go out to the Big Ten. We got Minnesota. Goes out to play number 9, Iowa. Undefeated Iowa. Now, Iowa took care of business, beat these boys 40-35, so now we got a problem up top. Like I've been saying, if you're undefeated, the wins and the losses got to count for something. I was playing in a Power 5 conference, and they undefeated. I'm going to talk about my top 4 at the end of this broadcast, but I'm going to keep it real with you. Iowa should be in the top 4, bro, because they undefeated. Now, let's move on to the next ball game. We're going to go out to the SEC. We got number 2, suspect number 2, Alabama. Goes out to play number 17, suspect 17, Mississippi State. Here's my problem before we even start this ball game. Now, the boys from Alabama won the ball game, so that's all we need to talk about. 31-6 beat these boys. But they got Mississippi State ranked number 17, and they already came into this ball game with 2 losses. The reason that they ranked number 17 in this ball game is because they're in the SEC, and boys come in with the SEC bias all day long. Now, Start Vegas is officially closed. These boys got 3 losses. They went to work on Dak Prescott. Derrick Henry was 22 carries, 204 yards on these boys. Went to work. So Alabama is looking good right now. These boys only have 1 loss. It is what it is. Now, let's move on to the next ball game. We got number 12, Oklahoma. Goes down to Waco to play number 8, Baylor. Now, Baylor been complaining all year. Boys ain't giving them no respect. They were undefeated going into this ball game. But you and I both know Baylor is Baylor. OU went down there, went to work on these boys, beat them 44-34. Baker Mayfield went to work, was 24-34, 270 yards, 3 touchdowns on these boys. Threw 1 dub pick, but it didn't hurt them. Then Samaje Perine had 28 carries, 166 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Sterling Shepard, the real deal, 14 receptions, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now, here's my deal. Let's talk about the top 4. After this weekend, the top 4 should be Ohio State should be number 1. When in America did the defending national champ go undefeated and then get pushed back in the rankings? Only when these done from the college football playoff committee start overthinking the situation. Everywhere in America, if you win the championship and you still undefeated, you are the champ until somebody beats you. So Ohio State should be number 1. Clemson should be number 2. Oklahoma State should be number 3. Why? Because they still undefeated. Iowa should be number 4. Everybody and their baby's mama keep on hollering and complaining that Alabama and Notre Dame should be in the top 4. Not right now, bruh. At the end of the season, if everybody takes an L and boys got 1 loss, then you go back in and look at Alabama and look at Notre Dame. But right now, if we saying that you got to be in a Power 5 conference in order to be considered for the national championship playoff, and boys are undefeated playing in the Power 5 conference, then they should be in the top 4. Nowhere in the world do you put Alabama and Notre Dame in the top 4, and these duns an already lost ball game, and Iowa and Oklahoma State are still undefeated playing in the conference that you told them they need to play in, the Power 5. So now, again, Ohio State, Clemson, Oklahoma State, and Iowa should be in the top 5. Now, let's keep this real. Iowa and Ohio State gonna cancel each other out. They gotta play in the Big Ten championship. Clemson still gotta play North Carolina. That's not a given. So, and Alabama still gotta play Florida in the SEC championship game. And don't look up and think that Florida is not the real deal, because Jim McElwain got these boys rolling. All I'm saying to you is, I didn't have a lot of jokes for you on this one, but I gave you the real deal and I gave you the knowledge. Quit acting like Alabama's a shoe-in, because Alabama still got to play Florida and boys still got 1 loss. So if these boys keep winning, Alabama Notre Dame just going to be dub. It's your man Jay Graves Report from TheJayGravesReport.com, or you can hit me up on Twitter at JayGravesReport so you can holler at your boy.